little sunshine as we head into this weekend, but things are about to warm up next week. I'll have those details coming up in your 5 for 6 forecast.
Now on News Channel 6 at 4, upgrading security policies after multiple fights at local schools, what one district is proposing. Plus, a teenager gets to go home after recovering at the burn center, and home is far away. Also, the United Way of the CSRA kicks off its annual campaign. We'll take it to the breakfast pep rally. As your news at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Thank you so much for joining us. Coverage you can count on begins in Burke County, where additional officers will be working at tonight's football game against the Thompson Bulldogs. The Sheriff's Office says since the school year started, there have been 4 separate gang-related fights at Burke County High. 9 people have been charged and more arrests are on the way. Burke County deputies need your help now finding 17-year-old Xavier Washington. He's wanted for street gang activity, disrupting a public school, and fighting. If you've seen him, call one of the numbers on your screen. Those numbers are at the top of your screen there, 706-554-6633 or 706-554-2133. Aiken school leaders are taking steps to bolster security measures at Aiken High School and throughout the district. They include random weapons checks and an increased officer presence. A third lunch period is also being added to lower the risk of fights. A clear bag policy for athletic events will still be enforced.
And I also would think that a good idea is to hire veterans for security.
Yeah.
That know how to
you go
handle
to
a
the
gun.
hospital and there's security at the desk there.
Yeah.
You go into a bank and there's security at the desk there.
At athletic events, if a student is in 8th grade or younger, they'll have to be accompanied by an adult who is 21 or over. And high school students without an adult must show their school ID or Power School information on their phone. There is a change in time and place to the T.W. Josie High School football game. Josie will travel to Savannah tomorrow, where the Eagles will play the Blue Jackets. Game time is 5 p.m. We have directions to the stadium on our website, WJBF.com. Originally, Josie's game was set to take place at home, but following Wednesday's shooting, the school board decided to accept an invitation to play the game in Savannah instead. We spoke with an Eagle cheerleader this morning about the recent violence on campus.
It was chaos. It was kids crying, calling their parents. I was crying a little bit because it was scary. The teachers, they was trying their best to keep us calm and keep themselves calm.
Students at Josie, Murphy Middle, and the Marion Barnes Center will return to school on Monday. Staff returned today. Tonight, the Aquinas High School Fighting Irish will play their last game on their 45-year-old football field. During halftime, a groundbreaking ceremony will be held to celebrate construction on a new $8.5 million sports complex. It will include a new football, soccer, and baseball field, new stands, and concessions.
I think it's bittersweet. It's so exciting that we are moving ahead with a new era for athletic facilities here at the home of the Irish, but also we've had so many great times here.
The complex should be complete for the 2024-25 school year. This season, the Fighting Irish will play their home games at Greenbrier High School. It is Friday Night Lights, and several multiple
Forecast, Jenny.
All right, Miller, we appreciate it. A packed house this morning at the United Way of the CSRA's combination Project Serve and campaign kickoff breakfast. Hundreds of supporters were on hand to celebrate a new season of neighbors helping neighbors in our community. This year's theme is Together We Can. The goal is to raise $2.5 million to provide support to 31 different programs at 19 partner agencies all across the CSRA.
So knowing there's a lot of need in our community, but when we come together, when I get $5 a paycheck combined with your $5 a paycheck, combined with someone's $25 gift, when we all come together, we can
meet all of those needs and fill those gaps.
I was honored to MC this morning's event, and by the way, a big shout out to the 350 volunteers who led that breakfast, many of them helping out today at the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, the Master's Table, and the Salvation Army as part of Project Serve. This was a big day for a teenage girl from Jamaica who was released from the Joseph M. Still Burn Center after spending nearly 2 months there. 14-year-old Akalia Dunkley was airlifted to the burn center on June 21st. Doctors say a stove explosion left her with second-degree burns covering more than 50% of her body. The San Myrna Foundation in Kingston, Jamaica raised $45,000 to get her to the burn center, which is the largest in the U.S. After 2 months of inpatient treatment, Akalia's mother says she is grateful and looking forward to a bright future for her daughter.
It's like a bittersweet moment. She'll be going back to Jamaica, and it might take me a while to see her again. But we have the bond, and we'll still keep the bond.
The team got quite a send-off this morning. We'll have more of the story coming up on News Channel 6 at 5. August is National Breastfeeding Month. Local medical experts talk about the options you have when it comes to feeding your baby the healthiest way possible. Bria Smith has more.
Moms make milk based on what their babies need as far as their immune system goes.
April Weathers is the National Lactation Specialist at Doctors Hospital and tells me breast milk is the most nutritious food a new mom can feed her baby.
It's tailored to your baby, and your body is so amazing that your body makes milk that is specific to your baby's needs.
A 2019 CDC study shows that 83% of new moms in Georgia and 81% of new moms in South Carolina breastfeed their babies for at least some period of time.
The PUMP Act has been passed as a federal law that protects mothers' rights to breastfeed their babies and to have time to pump their milk while they're away.
Weathers believes having August named National Breastfeeding Month gives new moms a chance to weigh their options and choose whether breastfeeding or baby formula is right for them.
The focus this year is this is our why, and why do we do what we do? And I know that I do what I do because it gives me such joy and fulfillment to be able to help moms and babies reach their goals.
So if you're someone who has trouble or can't breastfeed, Weather says there are other options.
And then we're going to teach you about safe formula handling and preparation, because even in the midst of a shortage, we want to be mixing and preparing formula properly so that we don't cause any harm. I mean, the benefits are really endless.
In Augusta, Bria Smith, WJBF, News Channel 6.
Doctors Hospital offers free breastfeeding classes to the public. You can find that information on our website, WJBF.com. Today is the last day to vote early in the city. Losing a loved one is difficult enough, but imagine being scammed at the funeral home. Coming up, a warning from the Federal Trade Commission. Today, the Federal Trade Commission is putting out a warning. Scammers are impersonating funeral home staff to prey on mourning families. Xavier Walton spoke to one of them.
Music embodies the Jen and Dustin Lost Beach love story.
Everything is music in our household.
They met in 2012, eventually got married, and had Harrison.
So mesmerized.
But in March, the music stopped.
He unexpectedly passed away one night. I'm thankful for all the time that we had, but I'm bitter about all the time that we don't.
While planning a final farewell to her late husband, Jen, hanging on by an emotional thread, got a call.
My phone started ringing, and up popped the number for the mortuary. And I had it saved with our funeral director's name. And I was like, oh, Sean's calling. That's weird. So I was like, well, who is this? And he said, well, my name is Craig. And Sean's in the middle of a viewing, but he wanted me to make some calls. And I was like, okay. And he was like, well, there's a matter of insurance that wasn't settled with you, and we need a payment. And he was saying it's $49.90. And so I started to panic, thinking he's asking for $5,000.
Jen says the scammer spoofed the funeral home's number and even knew the employees by name. There's another despicable story just like this one out of Ohio. The Ohio Department of Commerce said scammers were using obituaries to select their targets.
At this point, they're probably the lowest, most vulnerable position they are in life.
The Federal Trade Commission sent out a warning and says to resist the pressure to act immediately, contact the funeral home directly and know how scammers tell you to pay.
You're not in your right mind.
So when you realized this was, by all accounts, a scam, what was your reaction?
I was just sick. The last thing that he did was he called me back and said, we're going to refuse your business because of how rude you've been to us, and you're going to have to figure out where to put your husband. Like, basically saying they were going to, like, be done with his body. So the guy just, like, wanted to hurt me because he wasn't going to get my money.
I think despicable is a good word for that. Well, Jen didn't fall for the scam, but according to the National Funeral Directors Association, others have. They're aware of this and are notifying places across the country as well. Beautiful day today. Certainly not as humid.
A nice and sunny stretch of weather ahead. I'll let you know when temperatures reach dangerous levels coming up in your Viper 6 forecast.
Now, on News Channel 6 at 6, beefing up security in Burke County, how law enforcement agencies are working to make tonight's game safe for everyone. Plus, a big send-off for a teenage burn victim heading back home to Jamaica. We'll hear from her family.
I'm George Eston, Waynesboro. TGI football Friday night. It fired up. Out there somewhere, your news at 6 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jenny Montgomery. Coverage you can count on begins with high school football games in Georgia and South Carolina starting up. And with recent violence in local schools, some are increasing security at those games. Hannah Latier is live now at Burke County High School, and there will be a larger than usual police presence at tonight's game.
That's right, Jenny. There will be more sheriff's office patrols out here tonight due to 4 gang-related fights between students that has happened since school started this year. A sheriff's office spokesperson tells me there will be about 20 more deputies at the game when there are usually just SROs. So far, 9 students have been charged with a fray, disrupting a public school, and unlawful gang activity. 2 have been arrested, and warrants are out for others involved. They're expecting more charges to follow. The spokesperson says if there are any incidents tonight, everyone involved will be taken into custody.
Safety is our #1 priority here in Burke County, and we want to make sure that people feel comfortable to come out and enjoy a football game because, people shouldn't have to, come out in fear or, have any second thoughts about coming to a football game.
Allen says they may have to keep these increased patrols for future football games. Watch News Channel 6 at 11 tonight for the full story. Live in Burke County, Hannah Latier, WJBF News Channel 6.
Josie High School's football game is changing dates and location. The decision was made after a student was injured in a shooting on campus this week. We spoke to a cheerleader about the recent violence at the school.
It was chaos. It was kids crying, calling their parents. I was crying a little bit because it was scary. The teachers, they was trying their best to keep us calm and keep themselves calm.
Josie's game against Savannah High School will now be played in Savannah. Kickoff is tomorrow at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. School leaders are taking
Now, WJBF sports coverage you can count on.
Well, we got a little taste last night with a pair of high school football games, but things really get going tonight. Week 1 has some great games on the schedule. We love some of the border battles, and Laney will be on the road at Strom. Thurman Wildcats shut out the Rebels 16-0 a year ago, but Strom has their quarterback Quan Edmond and added All-State wide receiver Braylon Staley. Midland Valley at Grovetown. The Warriors with 18 starters back from last year's team that won 43-10 a year ago. Evans at North Augusta will renew their rivalry. The Knights took it 16-7 last year in Georgia. This one tonight will be in North Augusta, plus Lakeside, Aiken, Silver Bluff at Strom Thurman. Be sure to join us later tonight for football Friday night right here on WJBF News Channel 6 after the 11 o'clock news. More than 30 minutes of highlights and scores, game night live, game of the week, 44 strong, player of the week, and our Powerade top 5 plays of the week. Told you about our game night live, and it's a huge one in the Bear Den as Burke County hosts Thompson. Burke County handed Thompson their only loss of the season with the goal line stand on the final play a year ago. For more on the newest edition of this one, our Kira Goldstein joins us live from the Bear Den. Hey, Kira.
Hey, Brendan. Yeah, you did mention that one loss. This team has a huge rivalry, but some things are going to be looking a little bit different this year. With Thompson being the defending national champion, they did get a chance to get some younger guys. So many reps last year. So even though they are a younger team, they are going to be having some of that veteran experience. And then on the Burke County side, you've got a new head coach, and he's introducing an entirely new brand of football. So there are a few more question marks on that side, but this rivalry runs really, really deep, and we'll give you a chance to hear from those coaches now about that rivalry.
It's one game at a time. It's nothing like playing in a rivalry series. That's what I was just talking to the guys about. You know, you go and talk about some of the biggest rivalries in the state of Georgia. You go to college football, you talk about those rivalries, and the team that usually settles in the fastest are the teams that usually win those games.
And it's Bear Built. And what is Bear Built being all about? Those are things that make that Bear Built up. And I mean, you take a look up on the board, it's about your family. It's about, about your teammates. It's about the effort that you give. It's about the commitment that you have. Those types of things, the toughness, all the things that go into making a good football team, a good football person, and a daggum overall good football program.
Yeah, these coaches have a long history with each other. This rivalry is really long, so we are excited to see all of that kick off at 7:30. But before that, I have a few friends with me, and they're going to tell you a little bit about the IB program. Can you tell me what it is?
Hi, my name is Mariam Parker, and the IB program stands for International Baccalaureate. It is a program within all countries around the world.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you love about it and what they do?
Hi, my name's Delisa Dinkins, and one thing I really love about the IB program is that it opens opportunities for us to have mentorships and internships to really achieve in the career that we soon to see in the future.
Thank you, ladies, so much. We appreciate it. We'll see you at 7:30 for Game Night Live. We'll be right back.
Tonight